Hi everyone, I have a little bonus for you for corkscrew, which is going to be a standing variation. Now we were moving those hips, we were seated and we were moving those hips up and down and back and forth and around. You can get some of that same work standing. It'll add a little bit of a balance challenge, but just know that if you're doing the seated variation, if you've tried it, you know that it's a lot of work in that standing leg. So 3 to 5 each side is good enough. Standing up on, this is a moon box, but I do this with yoga blocks all the time with myself and with clients. So come and stand up on it. And I just have this for a little bit of balance over here. I'm getting over a head cold. So evening out those hips, flexing both feet and trying to equal the weight. I'm gonna drop this leg over here and then pick it up. So that same movement we did seated, we can do standing. It's more balance work because we're up high and we have all of our weight in our hips. So you can do that up and down variation. Now, the back and forth variation, you'll come down, and this is actually a little bit easier, I think, like with a little bit of a higher block, so you might want to use 2. You're not going to be moving them, but as your hips are here, that same idea that you're going to move that side of your hip and then lift it. So push it forward, bring it down, and come back. Okay, so I'm moving the hips like this. Then we go back, so take that hip back and lift up. Take the hip back and lift up. So that same exact work. Here's what I like about the different variations. For the one where we are moving our hips forward and taking them back, I actually prefer that seated, because being able to drop that hip and move it forward and really use that leg, there's just something about being able to dip the hip down that's really, really nice. Not to say that this variation isn't also good. I just feel like it's a little bit easier to find the connection in your body and move your hips a little bit more freer when you're seated. However, if you have the opportunity or are able to stand up for any length of time, I do like the idea of trying at least the lower and lift standing. A little lower and lift. A little lower and lift. And then you can try some balance work with it. Maybe when your head's not full of stuff from a head cold. But you can try that. Like, how can I stay nice and straight and still do that movement? So that's a little extra of a challenge. The seated variations, I'm just gonna repeat it. For this, seated on the block, doing the up, down, forward, back, and all of that. Excellent work. And I'm just gonna show this again from the side. I'm gonna grab my chair. What we call our pelvic tuck. There goes my foam roller. What we call the pelvic tuck and the pelvic arch. Seated is really, really nice. So I'm just gonna do this from the side. It's just a little bit easier, and having the ball is really nice too. So place the ball between the knees. And then from here, hopefully you can see me even though I have a black shirt on. I'm in my tall spine, and then I'm trying to only move that very low part, like where my waistband is. So I'm gonna squeeze this ball together and push my sits bone, my butt bones down, and try and pull them that way. And then I sit up nice and tall. Then I'm gonna try and move them backward with keeping my rib cage and everything completely still. Then back to tall, then push the sits bones away and come tall, and then push them back behind and tall. So with the standing movements or the seated movements and that little pelvic tuck and arch, like you're moving your hips all over the place, and it's just really, really good work. So there's a little bit of a bonus and maybe a little repeat of some things from a different angle.